Hello everyone, Dustin Zaner with Creating the Difference. Today we're back with another TruBall review. Today we're going to be talking about the new Hammer Obsession and the Obsession Tour. Both of these balls have just been announced, so we're going to take a deep dive into those today. We're actually going to throw some shots on the CTD Education Center House Shot, which is Wall Street V2, and Dead Man's Curve, which is a sports shot. It's about 3-to-1. So we're going to put these balls to the test. The Obsession Tour actually has a lower diff than the Obsession, so we can expect to see less flare out of the Obsession Tour, and we'll talk about what that actually means as we go on through the video. So I also have the Black Widow 2.0 on the rack to sand it to 2000 grit True Cut, and the Obsessions are at factory finish. So we'll go ahead and start with the Black Widow 2.0 on the Education Center House Shot, and we will take a deep dive into both of these bowling balls. So I'm essentially just trying to get a read here with the Black Widow 2.0 and then compare the Obsession.
Ho ho ho. Green Giant.
Look at that. That's a way to start. So the Obsession is one of the strongest balls in Hammer's line right now, if not the strongest. So we're going to take a look at this ball, give you my thoughts on what it's going to be good for, and sort of the impact behind the less flare in the Obsession Tour. Wow. So that was definitely a traction type ball motion. You could tell when that really picked up and it just kept going. So that is something we really like to see. So I'll go ahead and throw another shot with the Obsession, wiping it off with a CTD BFP to get all that oil off, to make sure we have as consistent of a reaction as possible. Little in. Okay. Okay. So that definitely laid off when it got in the oil. But we'll give it another go, and then we'll head on over to the Obsession Tour. Now, when they talk about more flare, less flare, what does that really mean? So, from a ball motion standpoint, that means that generally the lower the flare, the less amount of total overall hook, the more controllable the ball reaction is. In theory, that's what it means. So we're actually going to take a look at the new Obsession Tour right now. Give ourselves a full rack. And see what this ball can do. I hooked a little bit. So you can definitely tell the difference in overall ball motion just by that first shot. The Obsession is definitely more of a traction type ball motion, where it hooked and kind of laid off. But the Obsession Tour hooked and kept going. So we'll throw another shot with it, see if we get a different ball reaction. Throwing wood. Throwing wood. So that shot, just like the second shot with the Obsession, I got it into the oil. So it kind of just laid there. So what I'm going to try to do is parallel 2 and 2 right with the Obsession and Obsession Tour, excuse me, and see what type of ball reaction we get. And then after this shot, we'll go make a transition over to dead man's curve. Wow, that looks really good. You see there by that shot how really nice and controllable that was. And that's where the less flare comes into play, right? So compared to the Obsession there, get us full rack, and then we'll move over. Compared to the Obsession right there, woo, you could see with that how early that was, and it just laid off, while the Obsession Tour is more of that controllable type ball motion. So we're gonna go ahead and move over to lane 3, throw some shots on dead man's curve, and see exactly what we get out of the Obsession and the Obsession Tour. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and throw some shots on dead man's curve. We'll throw one shot with the Black Widow 2.0, just to get a read off of what we're seeing here. Now with bowling on a sports shot, making good shots, of course, is the key to scoring. There's not as much leeway with misses on a house shot or on a sports shot. So really having the right ball in your hand is super key on a sports shot, especially like dead man's curve at 3-1. So we're gonna try the Obsession now. Little right, but that's a good thing about doing these types of reviews. We can see those bad shots, see what the ball actually does, and be able to talk about it. So there, dead man's curve actually has a lot of hold right if you miss right, if you are playing angles like that. So what I'm going to do is move a little right and throw a good shot. Wow, that looks really good. So I'll grab the Obsession and throw it there now as well, so we can actually see a ball motion difference between the Obsession and Obsession Tour. So when we talk about less flare, more flare, the overall diff of a bowling ball, the Obsession is going to be really, really good on those fresh conditions. This condition is fresh. So what we're seeing out of this ball is a ball motion that I personally would want to see on a sport pattern like dead man's curve. Now, the Obsession Tour, or any other bowling ball that might be lower differential, is a ball that you're going to use later on in a block. All right, so quickly we're going to showcase some clutch bowling technology. So this is going to allow us to see the line tracer on the lane, so we can really see how these balls stack up. It's a good shot. So on the house shot, we're able to see like these differences, especially in the Obsession, right? So when that ball saw friction on the house shot, it really faced up early. So when it sees friction, it kind of lays off down lane, but we're seeing a nice consistent reaction out of the Obsession Tour. So visually, those two shots are very, very close. You can see here that the yellow line is the Obsession Tour, but the white line, which is the line on the left, is the Obsession. So when we talk about that, that's where the lower flare comes into play. You can see that the Obsession really continued down lane and was high flush, while the Obsession Tour was just a little light, and that's where the less flare, more controllable reaction comes in. So personally, I would use the Obsession on the fresh if I was bowling on this pattern. You can see how good that shot really looked. And from there, I would migrate to the Obsession Tour, and then I would probably go to the Black Widow 2.0. If you're interested in the Obsession Tour or the Obsession, you can find both of those bowling balls on bowlingforless.com. And also consider joining our staff. We have a growing staff program that is absolutely free to join. Head on over to ctdbowling.com, click on the regional staff sign up button, and you can become a member of Team CTD for free. With that being said, I am Dustin Zander with Creating the Difference. Have an awesome day.